Hi everybody, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Donna Ogozalek and I am an educator with East Coast Salon Services. So guys, I can't wait to bring to you today a really beautiful lived in relaxed kind of balayage. It is very soft and blended and high impact, but guys, it doesn't have a zillion sections. It has maybe about 30 foils. I love doing foils because I find that I can get the greatest amount of impact and heat conduction with foils, but you can make it look like a balayage. Certainly open air has its place, doesn't it? So, but I find myself that my guests tend to like a greater amount. I always say 2 levels is maybe what you may get for a nice little soft balayage if somebody's coming in for the first time. So maybe 1 to 2 shades with open air. I myself, I like to have the impact of about 3 levels, and I find that I get that with my foliage. So guys, about 30 foils or less, we're gonna make a great impact, and it's all in the technique and the sectioning. So thank you for joining me, and we're gonna get started. Okay guys, we are ready to get started, and I just have to tell you, I had the best surprise. I had let my company know that I didn't make it back from the hair show with my scale that we had used for the hair show. And so I asked if they can send me another one, and look at this fun scale that I got. So guys, I guess we're selling these now. These are by Color Track, but it kind of looks almost like a tie-dye. Isn't that pretty? So I just got this going, and I'm measuring out my lightener. And guys, I'm gonna start with my Baco Blonde Elevation Lightener. I love this, guys, because it bursts past all the warm tones and gives you the most beautiful effects, and it gives you a nice contrast. And I'm gonna begin with 10 volume where I'm starting my lightening. And especially guys, when you're starting with your clients, of course, around the face, we want to make sure if you're beginning around the face frame, you're going to take it to a lower developer because it's going to be sitting on there for quite some time until you finish the back, but not as much time as typically for a balayage because we're going to get through this pretty quickly. So just want to go through the sectioning, and then I'm just going to do some voiceovers for you. I'm going to get going and record this whole thing and speed it up so that you guys can get to the end results quicker. So guys, so simply, ear to ear, top of the head, about to the round of the head. And you want to take a look to see where your client's hair kind of naturally splits and lays down, because right above that is where you're going to be making your parting. For now, I'm just sectioning this back to get it out of the way. I'm going precision area, which is that area where the hair gets a little bit thinner, goes back, recedes. So we're going to go there, back to the last section, pin this out of the way. We're going to begin on the other side of that section, and the top here is just divided into 2 at the part line, because you know what guys, we're going to take a little bit of care to make a really pretty money piece here, and the face frame, it's just going to be a little bit brighter, but by making it equal parts, instead of doing a side part, but equal parts around the face frame. If you have somebody who flips the hair, it's gonna be very consistent for however they decide to flip the hair. If somebody wants it, they strictly wear it on the part, then you can do it, you know, surely how they wear their part. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, everybody, remember we made our section right above the recision area, and we are taking over the ear diagonal back sections with a smaller section right around the face. You want to be able to almost, if you had a watch, be able to read the time underneath of it. And I am choosing to use, have you guys ever tried using a teasing brush that you would use during updos for your teasy lights? Guys, it gives such a pretty blend. So you can try, if you want a little bit more intense blend that's easy to comb out, that's a nice way to go. So sometimes I might choose for areas that are more visible, I might do the brush or a comb, whatever your preference is. So just adjusting because I'm at a weird angle so that the camera can see, but guys, I always encourage you to kind of stand right in front of the sections that you're making. So folding this out of the way, I go and start my second diagonal back section, which this time, everybody, it is a 1/2 inch section. You can see it's a little wider, and my weave is going to be a little stronger than the weave that I did around the face. So guys, we are going to weave the entire depth of that 1/2 inch section, which typically we may surface, highlight a section, and then have a dropout. But because we are doing a teasy light and blending, we are going to do the entire depth. So I just wanted to show you the CooBoard that I'm using. It's available at East Coast or at CooBoard on Instagram. There's a link. This is fantastic for doing teasy lights, everybody, because it takes the work of getting the tease out of the way. It takes the work out of it for you. And also, I like using a board to do and mimic balayage, because what that does is it gives you a really nice pushback, even saturation by using a board. It just makes it really easy than just using your hand. Okay, everybody, so we are going to take our third section here, and I'm going to do a little bit wider of a weave, again, going the entire depth of that 1/2 inch. You can see it's a little bit wider there. So watch my teasy light, everybody. I take that same tease and work it down the section. I'm not going back to the top of my hands. I kind of work that same tease from my first push. I insert my comb and push a little further, take my comb out and insert the comb again at that where that I left off at the tease, and then finish it all the way to the scalp. And that way, guys, it's less aggressive. You're just working that one tease down the head slowly. So again, remember we're creating depth, so I'm going to take it a little bit further away from the scalp. So maybe a 1/2 inch or so and do a blend. So around the face it's brighter, and then we're dropping off to more depth and dimension in the back. That entire section I'm holding right now, I'm pinning out of the way because, believe it or not, we are not going to touch that hair at all for right now. So going to the other side of the face, we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, next up is the face frame, everybody. And this is going to be a very impactful money piece area. But guys, this is not going to be a chunky money piece. It's really neat. We're going to have a little bit bolder around the face. And then about 3 sections back, we are gradually taking that out away from the scalp just a little bit, and we're going to be blending, and it's going to be very closely knit together, but it's going to make a nice impact, but blend seamlessly back to where we have the more relaxed, kind of lived in depth, while still making an impact on the top of the head. So guys, what I'm doing here is I am doing baby lights with just a slight tease around the face. So it's not a real heavy tease. You don't even have to do a tease. You can do it super baby fine. And you can use your CooBoard or just get on up there with your foil. And the key is to have good saturation. And you can see as I go in and do a little bit of detailing, feathering it up towards the scalp and making sure it's even saturation in the foil. So the benefit of doing the entire hairline is that no matter where your client flips the hair, they're going to have that bold impact around the face. And certainly you can do a side part once you get past the fringe section. But I do find by doing a center part that often it's versatile anyway. So if you have a client who likes to flip their hair, it's a good way to go. When I say flip their hair, flip their part, sometimes you ever see somebody, they'll flip their part to the entire other section. Maybe then they let it fall, their natural part where it falls in the middle. So this is a good option for those kinds of clients. By the way, everybody, check out my color brush. Isn't that fun? It's the Framar All Y'all color brush. It's so fantastic for applying lightener or low lights. It has a nice feathery feathered bristle that's flexible, but not too bendy. It's the perfect texture. And you can also see, I love the ethereal foils. It has a nice little kind of fun unicorn colors that I find so much fun and satisfying to work with. So you can see that I am bricklaying my next section, meaning that I am taking my section between the two foils that I had taken previously. I am doing a light to medium weave, and you can see this time I'm going in with a little bit more of an aggressive tease, just so that I get a little bit more blur right behind the face frame. So making sure the hair is saturated and taking most of the lightener off my brush. Once it starts to distribute a little more and I have a little bit left, that's when I go back in towards the top of my foil to feather it in. Because by feathering at a more of a vertical on an angle rather than horizontal to the foil, it gives you such a prettier blend. So you can kind of see I am almost making like a rounded section here. And I'm going to be following through here and explaining as we go. Okay, everybody, we did the entire face frame, over the ears, around the face, and back just a little bit more. So now the next section, we are moving on to the back of the head, and we are going to make little V sections and just get the rest of the hair out of the way. And so we're going to take actually wider than you would think. Again, probably about a ½ inch or so. And I'm taking a boulder weave and allowing a pretty decent dropout. Now, of course, if you wanted a more surface lightening, you can certainly do that. But here I'm just creating some depth from behind the outside of the hairline. I'm sorry, some lightness from outside of the depth of the hairline. So it's still going to come through when somebody pulls up their hair into a ponytail. So we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. And I'm not going right up to the scalp, but enough that it gives like a real pretty little burst of lightness from underneath. Okay, everybody, you can see I'm doing a boulder weave and doing the dropout. And guys, I'm doing a total of 2 diagonal back on each side of the head, and we're speeding up to the next section. So I know this next section might throw you guys a little. We're actually going to leave a lot of depth behind underneath, and we will be doing something else soon, but for now, I am just taking about a ½ inch scoop. When I say a scoop, almost like a crescent moon where it's thinner on the ends and goes a little bit deep, like a narrow semicircle, which is going to create a little bit more depth towards the center of the section and a little less depth towards the outside. And so guys, we're going to vary the depth here. I'm doing a diagonal. You can see where it's higher around the face frame, creating depth down towards the center of the head. And just making sure that I feather that up, and keep in mind, we did a teasy, so that's gonna blur even prettier. Again, taking a slight diagonal, meaning that it's not a straight horizontal, just a slight diagonal. It's kind of hard to tell with this angle. So again, ½ inch, and then remember to scoop the section. And guys, that leaves also behind a little bit of depth, which is kind of the idea of what we're trying to do here. Now, on this mannequin head, I am getting about 3 to 4 sections from the recision area up to about the center of the head. So keep in mind the real estate of your guest. Some people, we know all sizes of heads differ, so it's not locked and loaded on the amount of sections. Use your best judgment. So remember the last foil I did? We had a diagonal back with the lightening, meaning that the lightener was higher towards the face and created a little bit of depth, left it untouched with the lightener towards the center of the head. And the last foil, I did a little bit more of a V. This time I'm doing a W. So it's really neat to kind of vary your technique so it's not the same. You have different heights of lightness in different areas and different depths. Okay, so you can see we're getting towards the top of the head, and I might get about 2 more sections here. So I did my little scoop. And decide how much of a section you want to take. If that's too wide of a section, you can leave some of that section out. But I'm doing a little bit bolder, leaving out a little bit of depth right behind the foils that we've already taken. Little back comb. And I just wanted a little bit brighter in this top section. And I'm leaving a little bit of depth, you can see, with the smaller V at the top. So guys, to speed things along, I did things exactly the same on the other side of the head. So next we are moving to right above the occipital, and we are going to take a section, the same moon section that we did on the sides of the head and the top, about a 1/2 inch down, and I'm doing a bolder weave here, guys. You can kind of see it's a little bit wider. And so the cool thing is here, we're gonna create a very nice balayage shape here by doing a stronger V section in the back and allowing for depth. So guys, by having a stronger blur in the center of the head, we can allow for that depth. And the depth is what's going to create some interest in this hairstyle. We have, you know, if you think about the sun, it's not really getting that underneath. So a natural looking balayage, it's going to have that depth from underneath. So you're saving your guest time, and you're really taking an artistic approach to a very pretty hair color. So I am creating like a little V at the top of the round of the head, and we're just going to go in with some balayage foil placements. I'm doing a diagonal down to the center back. So again, creating that depth down towards the center of the head. Okay, now we're going to the other side, creating a 1/2 inch scoop on that diagonal. And remember, we're going to do a little tease, and then we're going to do a diagonal back from the high point being on the outside of the right side here down into the center of the head. So once you get that nice little V section, we're simply going to go and take a horizontal section. We're going to do 2 foils, guys. So I'm just kind of measuring out the section because I do want a little bit of a filter above, but you can see I dropped down that depth below because it is in the depth that you see the contrast of the blonde. So taking a medium weave, again, we're doing our tease. And I can do a little bit bolder if I have a nice tease because it provides a nice filter. So keep in mind, guys, we want kind of the brightness around the face and then the lived in where we just kind of see nice little pops of lightness in varying areas around the head. So I am taking it not up against the scalp. I want it to drop down. So lived in means that it looks a little bit grown out. So we don't want it to look like a fresh highlight, do we? So there's my last foil. I'm leaving a filter above it. So again, the tease. And I'm dropping down my placement, you can see a little bit more. And keep in mind, wherever you place that lightener, it's gonna appear a little bit lower than where you're putting it because of the tease. It creates a nice soft blur. Okay guys, check out all this unlightened hair. So we don't want any lightening to go up towards the scalp, but we do want to brighten the ends. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, guys, to me, this is so much fun. I love going through and doing a mass painting. You don't have to take these intricate sections. So you know, I'm experienced and confident with this. If this is overwhelming to you, stay tuned. In the next section, I'm gonna tease it a little bit. So guys, I am pulling this all towards the face. And the reason is it's gonna give you such a greater pop than if you pull it behind. You're gonna be missing a lot of brightness. The key is we want to brighten those ends. So you see I enclosed it in a foil. If I had a client, say for instance, who had a balayage previously that just needed a little bit of refreshing, you know, the tone gets a little bit darker, sometimes it gets brassy because of the oxidation, pollution, whatever it is, the water, sometimes just lightening it with a little 10 volume over previously lightened does the trick. But in this case, I am going in, it's the last few minutes, so I'm going in with a higher volume of developer because it's not going to be sitting on very long. This section you can see I teased. It looks like I'm creating a giant mess, but it's really not. It comes out pretty easily. So kind of the same approach, varying highs and lows and blend those ends. And the tease is also going to assist you as well. So again, I'm using the foils because I want maximum lightening, and that's going to be my friend because you can see it's almost like doing a virgin head. So you take these mask sections across the back, do a little teasy, and you're going to get some really pretty brightening wherever there's hair that's been left out. So guys, stay tuned. I'm going to show you the end results. Hey guys, here we go. The lived-in balayage with a brighter face frame and ends. Your clients are gonna love this technique as much as you're gonna love doing it. Let me know if there's any questions, and thank you for your time. This video is brought to you today by East Coast Salon Services. Guys, you can go on and place an order for the products that I used today and check them out at eastcoastsalon.com. Or you can call customer service at 1-800-257-7104. And last but not least, be sure to call or text your East Coast Salon sales rep. They'll be glad to help you out as well. Hope you guys have a great day.